So, hello everyone. My name is Lukáš, and with me is Merle Kukys. We're both country managers for a small company called WEDOS. Small, I say, because today I will be walking you through a little bit of our history, and we will be talking a little bit about perhaps the longest title of a presentation ever said, and that is how WEDOS Global's dense network transforms the digital experience in Europe. Truly a tongue breaker, so it's kind of hard, but I'm glad that I finished it well. So I will just say a few words on what WEDOS could be and what it can offer to the world. So basically, we start as a small web hosting company in Central Europe. And in the end, as we're growing and we're adding more and more places, we have grown into being one of the biggest web hosting providers in Europe. And we are planning to become a company that has outreach globally. So what we started with is web hosting. It's a simple solution. If you want to have a web on the internet, right, you need some place to host it. So we bought some servers and we made some work on them. People could host their web pages, no problem. But as our clientele grew and grew, we started suffering more and more trouble with DDoS attacks and with perhaps other cybersecurity issues. So we had to try to find a way to limit that, and for that we have created our own solution. So yes.
And since it's not all only about us, we will also talk a little bit more about the cybersecurity risk we have or we face. And the landscape of internet in Europe it's growing more and more, since we have 90% of the population using the internet almost daily. And it also increased, of course, through COVID. People are buying online on their cell phones. And everyone is affected by cybersecurity. Especially retail online stores, which have websites that get attacked by DDoS attacks. But there are also other challenges for websites, slow loading times, customers get unhappy if it's not loading, if the buying button does not work, whatever. The normal security threats like attacks through hackers, whatever. And also scalability issues. You want to measure your website, your customers, your sales. And all this gets more and more important. Even the smallest company pays attention to the numbers. And the basic threats, as mentioned, we are specialized for DDoS attacks, but there are also cybersecurity attacks through hackers, weak networks, server breakdowns, whatever. Those are all basic threats. And the easiest way to protect are layer 3, 4, and 7. Layer 3 is the routing data through the networks. Layer 4 means the connection and data flow controlling through from one end user to the other end user. And layer 7 works at the application level in your own network. And they protect against different kind of attacks. The DDoS attacks we're talking about, the SYN floods, and application level attacks towards yourself. Then what most people use, even on your private laptops, are firewalls, web application firewalls, and also HTTPs, protocols to protect, and everyone can just download it by a simple package. These are the basic ways to protect against threats. Another security method is endpoint security. That means most of the companies have one data center. But the downside of this one data center in the end is that every single data has to go through this one data center. Especially for websites, the downside is it's slowing down web pages. If this data center is overloaded, all the data traffic gets stopped. So we have delays in performances. Again, the issue before, customers get disappointed, maybe go through another web store like Amazon, whatever. And we try to prevent this. And also we are all annoyed if you have traffic jams, and this can also happen if a lot of customers want to buy at the same time. And also, what happens most of the time that the data has to go a long way. If you have the data center here in Frankfurt and someone wants to buy from South Africa, imagine the way the data has to go. And even in the times of internet, it's super slow compared to other methods. And here we see an example of a DDoS attack, for example. This is the normal traffic through data centers for a website. And here at 11:34, we see an increased request for the website. And of course, the server cannot deal with it because it's used to traffic being or request about the 200,000. And usually this is where the servers breaks down. It cannot work anymore. And we see here how it's even the requests are going through different data centers. But even many data centers or locations cannot deal with it all the time. Another interesting example we have here, it's from a school. Normal traffic and a 10, where probably a test was supposed to take place. Students tried to attack the school server, so they couldn't participate in the test, or the test got cancelled. And then after the attack, it slowed down. But even in this small kind of, like, no one would expect as a school that you get attacked from DDoS attacks, because why would anyone do it? But the kids get smarter these days.
Yeah, so we can start with saying that navigating the internet is very complicated, right? Because most of the traffic itself is not even real people. I guess around only 20% of all the traffic on the internet is actual people, not bots. And usually you do not want the bots to be on your side because it slows it down, congests it, it's complicated because then you need more resources to run on the server. Maybe the web hosting then is complicated, and there's a possibility that your server cannot handle it. So those are the issues that we've been dealing with since our inception. We've had experience with the internet and its pitfalls since 1997, so it's quite a long time. Myself, I wasn't even born yet, so I couldn't tell you anything about it myself. But it's important to know that the internet is evolving greatly and very fast, actually. So it's important to be able to flexibly deal with attacks, with problems, and be flexible all around, because the internet is like an endless wall of knowledge that we all want to have access to. But it's possible that as bots take over more and more of the internet space, there won't be enough space for us people. So we, as a company, we have been under strong attacks since 2014. This led to one of the biggest problems in Czech internet. What happened is that both the main lines that went to Prague, to the main internet exchange points, were actually blocked, congested. And since around 60% of all Czech internet was going through that route, nothing worked. Banks are gone, you cannot withdraw money, you cannot send anybody money, you cannot even get money. That's the worst part for me. Schools didn't work, government websites, it was all down. If you wanted to buy a perfume on the internet, you could not. And I mean, that's a real quality of life that I enjoy now in the 21st century. So I want to be able to buy anything at all the time that I want, of course. So in 2021 and 2022, we have measured one of the strongest volumetric attacks for a website. And we were actually able to, it killed servers, it killed the internet, and nothing worked then. And I don't think we even realize ourselves how important the internet is for our daily lives, because we use it basically for everything. Myself, when I wake up, I immediately go on the internet, search for news, then I want to look at a video, everything. I want to buy something, I want to access bank. Impossible if you don't have internet, right? So I think it's important to keep the internet traffic clean, and the whole space is a little bit organized, because it's impossible to keep it in the way that it's right now, because especially thanks to attacks, cybersecurity problems, everything is going worse and worse. So for our troubles, where none of our services had worked, which of course is a big impact for business, any business at all, if they cannot do what they are supposed to do, right? We tried various commercial solutions for it. We tried black holing, we tried completely killing our servers for a little bit, but then again, nothing really was useful. The problem is that if you take different solution, you never know how it's exactly going to work. So you need to have something that's basically your own. So we decided that we will, on our own, build a great network of servers around the world. That is how we are. That is the reason we are forming WEDOS Global, mainly to keep our services secure. And that is what I'm trying to tell you right now. Is that with this solution, we're trying to keep the internet traffic clean. So basically the only solution for the problem is to have some sort of continuous protection. So we were trying to look for a way of how to do it. And well, the thing is, you need to start immediately blocking everything that is wrong, all the malicious traffic you cannot go let through. In real time, you need to limit access for the boss to the websites, so they cannot try to take computing power from the computers that it's running on. And what else it can offer with our solution is a static fingerprint of the website. It works like as a CDN, so you can store the information about the site in each of those geographical locations that we have a server in. And we also can deal with all the traffic in the point that it's in. So it's a great thing that can only happen thanks to having a very robust network of servers all around the world that is our own. We can also add captchas for forms when we have suspicion that it might not be a real person attempting to access the website. For the edge security, when it comes to looking at all the locations, you can accelerate loading in all those pages of all websites, reduce the latency of them, and increase the availability. So I was talking about the problem that if a website goes down, if it's a website of a government, basically the country cannot run anymore, because if you had trouble with visa, for example, you cannot deal with it, right? Because the government website is not working. So this is something that people have been spending way little time on, because the problem with cybersecurity usually is that people only start dealing with it once it's gone, once the problem is already there, once their website doesn't work. And then it costs a lot of money. It's very complicated to get all the data back. It's very complicated to get the service running again. And I think that's one of the biggest problems. Same as vaccination, right? Rather than deal with the problem as it occurs, we can prevent it in the beginning. So for that, we have built an decentralized network of servers in all of these locations currently. It's 122 points of presence around the world. On each of those servers, we can store data, and they all work as a reverse proxy. So we can filter all traffic that comes to those servers closest to where they geographically are. What Merle was saying is that, for example, here the Cloud Expo Europe website is based in some Frankfurt data center, and if somebody from the US tries to access it, they have to go all around the world to reach it, which is a lot of latency, right? It takes time physically for the signal to reach the destination. What happens in the DNS Anycast solution is that instead of having to go all around the world, we can deal with all the traffic and all the inquiry in the point where it's geographically the closest. So we can filter the traffic, we can keep a footprint so it's faster loading, and yes, we can improve the latency of that. It's kind of fun trying to look for more locations for the points of presence because as we found out, some of the countries have rather draconic laws when it comes to putting your own hardware. I think we all know that there's a great firewall in China, for example. But even other countries, such as Vietnam, have very strict rules when it comes to the internet traffic. So what we are trying to do is we're trying to access and basically connect all the continents around the world to make sure that they can be connected very fast and securely, most importantly. I will come back here to the availability. So internet is being transported through ISPs to which we are directly connected. So we can filter out the attacks immediately in the origin. Simply put, whenever you're trying to connect to a page, it doesn't need to go. We can make sure that the traffic that other person connects you to is safe and secure. And yes. So our service is called WEDOS Global Protection. It's built on top of our strong infrastructure with servers all around the world in the locations I've shown you previously. What we have there is an HP ProLiant server that can basically do all of what a data center normally could do, and the points themselves don't need to be connected thanks to our Anycast technology. It's not ours actually, but it's internet traffic solution, and with that, all of the servers can have the same IP address. What that means is that if somebody tries to send an attack on the IP address, there's always one of them. Thanks to the BGP routing, when someone is trying to access the IP address, instead of going to the data center as it would happen with the unicast solution, it gets resolved in the closest geographical point possible. So for example, if you are sitting here in the crowd, you can take a look what is the closest geographical location to where you live, because then we are able to take care of all the traffic in that point specifically. There's a case study of how our service can help websites. It was implemented on one of the bigger websites in Czech Republic, where we helped to reduce the load of the server by 70%, which means that they were consuming a lot of computing power in the servers, and we were able to reduce all of those resources to 30% actually what it was done before. So less electricity, so it means that it's greener. That's a very important thing. Usually the problem with big websites is that they eat a lot of resources, eat a lot of electricity. You need to cool down the servers because they have to compute a lot. All of this can be resolved with basically filtering all of the data before it reaches the server, so it does not need to compute as much data. So we were able to achieve the loading time, improve it by 6 times. So if you would try to open it up, it's lightning fast. You don't even realize that you are opening a website anymore. Basically what we're trying to resolve are the negative impacts of digital media unavailability. What happens when there's digital media unavailable? You have financial losses, right? Because you cannot access it. Your customers don't trust you anymore because they're not sure if they are able to reach you. And I don't mean this digital media specifically as some blogger. It can be government, yes. It can be a bank. That's very important. YouTube, for example, if it didn't work, it has great financial losses. So thanks to implementing our solution, we were able to reduce the load on the server by 41%. And so there were way fewer requests because we were able to filter out all the traffic that was not real humans. And the average response time increased greatly. It was 82% increase in loading speed after the implementation. So those are some great solutions.
Okay, so if you have any more questions, because we have so much data, references, how it actually can improve the website, but since we are not allowed to do a sales presentation here, we will skip these pages. If you have more questions, how it works with the Anycast, with the reverse proxy, with the DNS server, the CDN cage, the people in those shirts that are running around here, they will help you. And we are not able to use steroids in real life, but if you're running low on energy, we have pallets full of energy drinks you can all take because we need to get rid of them until tomorrow evening.
So please come to our booth so we can talk about how to help yourself. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.